Hey guys, welcome back. If you've ever felt like you're putting in all the effort while women stay distant or lose interest, chances are you're missing something important. Attraction isn't just about looks, money, or status. It's about psychology. Most men have no idea that women have built-in weaknesses when it comes to attraction. Automatic responses they don't even realize they're making. And if you understand these triggers, you gain the upper hand in dating and relationships. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 female weaknesses that, when used correctly, will shift the power dynamic in your favor. This isn't about playing games, it's about knowing what works. Stick around, take notes, and you'll see attraction entirely differently by the end of this video. Let's get into it. 1. The temptation of the unknown. A woman's mind is naturally drawn to what she cannot fully understand. The unknown captivates her imagination, making her think, wonder, and emotionally invest. When a man maintains a sense of mystery, he becomes intriguing. His presence lingers in her thoughts, creating a deep understanding of attraction. Predictability, on the other hand, dulls excitement. A man who reveals too much too soon leaves no room for curiosity. Without curiosity, there is no chase. In their eagerness to impress, most men make the mistake of oversharing. They lay out every detail of their life, hoping that transparency will build a connection. However, they fail to realize that attraction is not about information but emotion. A woman doesn't fall for a man because she knows everything about him. She falls because she can't stop thinking about him, trying to figure him out, wondering what he's doing when he's not with her. This emotional investment fuels her desire. A man who understands this doesn't rush to explain himself. He lets silence speak for him, allowing her to fill the gaps with curiosity. He is not always available, nor is he predictable in his actions. Sometimes he responds instantly, other times he takes his time. He does not revolve his world around her. Instead, he moves purposefully, making her feel like she must earn his attention. This contrast between presence and absence creates an irresistible pull. The mystery is not about playing games or being deceptive. It is about maintaining a life so rich and fulfilling that a woman naturally wants to be a part of it. A man who values his own time doesn't rush to hand over every detail of his emotions and allows a woman the space to wonder, becomes the kind of man she cannot forget. 2. The thrill of dominance. A man who confidently takes charge creates an irresistible pull that women instinctively respond to. It's not about controlling her, but about leading with certainty and purpose. When a man makes decisions without hesitation, he signals competence, security, and direction. Qualities deeply ingrained in female attraction psychology for centuries. Women may claim they want an agreeable man who always consults them, but they genuinely crave a man who can stand firm, make choices, and guide the relationship dynamic with quiet assurance. Most men, to be polite or avoid conflict, fall into the trap of indecision. They constantly ask for permission, waiting for her approval before moving. Instead of saying, "We're going to this new place tonight," they defer with, "Where do you want to go?" While this may seem considerate, it places the burden of leadership on her shoulders, subtly diminishing his presence in her eyes. Over time, this lack of assertiveness erodes attraction. She may not express it outright, but deep down, she feels the weight of always having to steer the ship. True confidence doesn't mean being domineering. It means making choices with certainty. A man who owns his space, moves with purpose, and doesn't hesitate in his actions commands respect effortlessly. He doesn't ask for permission to be confident, he simply is. He understands that taking the lead is not about proving dominance, but about providing a sense of direction. The moment he stops seeking validation and starts acting from a place of assuredness, she feels the shift. Women are drawn to being with a man who knows where he's going. When a man hesitates, overanalyzes, or constantly looks to her for direction, it creates a subtle feeling of unease. But when he walks into a room with quiet certainty, makes plans without second-guessing, and carries himself with a presence that suggests he is in control of his own life, she feels something different, something undeniable. That is the power of taking the lead. 3. The forbidden fantasy. Women are drawn to excitement, mystery, and challenge in ways most men fail to recognize. It's not about money, looks, or even status. It's about the emotions a man evokes. The fantasy of the unpredictable, slightly elusive man is potent because it stirs something profound within her, the thrill of uncertainty. This is why the classic bad boy figure remains so compelling. It's not his disregard for rules that make him attractive. It's the fact that he represents something different, an experience that breaks the mundane. Most men, to be liked, make the mistake of being too agreeable, too predictable, and too available. They never question her, never challenge her opinions, and never inject a sense of adventure into their interactions. This makes them safe but forgettable. A woman might appreciate a kind and reliable man, but she won't crave him. Craving comes from contrast, from an element of unpredictability that keeps her mind engaged and her emotions stirred. A man who understands this dynamic knows how to keep interactions fresh. He teases instead of constantly complimenting. He doesn't just nod in agreement, he pushes back playfully, making conversations lively and engaging. Instead of following the same patterns, he surprises her, making her feel like she's entering an exhilarating and uncertain world. When a woman feels that a man is a challenge, that his attention is something to be earned rather than freely given, she values it more. It's not about being arrogant or dismissive. It's about showing that you are a man with depth, purpose, and a life that is not easily swayed by her presence alone. The more she senses that your world is prosperous and self-sustaining, the more she wants to be a part of it. 4. The sweet pain of jealousy. Women are drawn to what feels valuable, and nothing signals value more than something others desire. A man who is socially admired effortlessly attracts attention and exists in a world that does not revolve around one woman, naturally cultivates an aura of intrigue. Women do not consciously seek out jealousy, but are affected by it in ways they cannot always explain. The moment she senses that she could lose you, she sees you differently, not just as a man she has, but as a man she must continue to earn. One of the most prominent mistakes men make is being too available. When a woman feels your attention is guaranteed, she stops valuing it. A man who immediately replies to messages, cancels plans for her, and constantly reassures her of his devotion, unknowingly diminishes his appeal. It is not that women want men to be distant, but instead that they are drawn to men who have lives of their own, men whose time is not easily won. The most attractive men are those who inspire curiosity. They maintain unpredictability not in a manipulative way, but in a way that suggests they have depth beyond what is immediately seen. A woman should never feel she knows everything about you within days or weeks. She should always sense that there is more to uncover, more layers to explore. This is why naturally social men who have female friends or are seen engaging with others confidently and effortlessly create an undeniable pull. A man who holds a woman's interest does not try to make her jealous. He does so by simply being a man who is in demand. He does not perform for attention or play games to trigger insecurity. Instead, he lives in a way that makes others take notice, and in doing so, he reminds her that his presence is not something to be taken for granted. When a woman feels that you are a man of value, her attraction deepens, not because you made her feel insecure, but because she realizes that having you is a privilege, not a guarantee. 5. The emotional roller coaster. Attraction is not built on comfort alone. While stability and consistency have their place in a relationship, they do not spark deep emotional desire. What truly captivates a woman is the contrast of emotions, the highs and lows that create excitement and anticipation. This is why women are drawn to men who can make them laugh one moment and challenge their thinking the next. Predictability may feel safe, but it rarely keeps passion alive. A man who understands emotional contrast does not simply aim to please. He is not always agreeable, nor does he mold himself into whatever he thinks she wants. Instead, he creates an engaging dynamic that keeps her intrigued. He teases, surprises, and pulls back, just enough to make her wonder. This is not about playing games, but about understanding how attraction works. A woman who experiences a range of emotions with a man, joy, curiosity, excitement, even a touch of frustration, is far more likely to develop a lasting attachment to him than someone who never challenges her or makes her feel anything beyond comfort. The key is to be unpredictable in ways that deepen the connection, rather than cause confusion or insecurity. A well-timed pause in conversation, an unexpected shift in energy, or a playful challenge to her perspective can make interactions more stimulating. A man who can make her laugh and pull her into a deep, thought-provoking discussion creates an emotional roller coaster she won't want to step off. Too many men believe that being consistently available and agreeable is the way to a woman's heart. But the truth is, a woman needs to feel something beyond just security. She needs to feel a sense of adventure, challenge, and longing. The men who master this balance are the ones who remain unforgettable. 6. The power of validation. Women do not seek constant praise. They crave genuine, meaningful recognition. When a man floods a woman with endless compliments, his words lose weight. She begins to see his validation as automatic rather than earned, and over time it stops holding value. But when approval is given sparingly, tied to moments where she has genuinely impressed or captivated him, it becomes something she treasures. This is why the most desirable men do not throw compliments around carelessly. Instead, they make their validation something worth striving for. A woman wonders what he thinks of her, seeking moments to earn his recognition rather than receiving it freely. She becomes more invested in his opinion because it is not given without thought. A man who understands this does not withhold praise out of manipulation, but out of authenticity. When he compliments her, it holds weight because she knows he means it. He does not flatter just for the sake of flattery. He observes, appreciates, and his words matter when he speaks. This creates a dynamic where a woman remains engaged, intrigued, and eager to keep the connection alive. The most potent validation is not given freely, it is earned, and in being earned, it becomes irreplaceable. 7. The seduction of a deep voice. A man's voice is more than just a tool for communication. It's a subtle yet powerful instrument of attraction. The way he speaks can evoke emotions, create intrigue, and leave a lasting impression on a woman's subconscious. A deep, slow, and controlled voice signals confidence, authority, and masculinity, qualities that naturally draw women in. It's not just about genetics, but how a man uses his voice to shape a conversation experience. Women are highly attuned to vocal cues. A rushed, high-pitched or uncertain tone can create a sense of nervousness or insecurity, diminishing the impact of his words. In contrast, a slower pace with deliberate pauses adds weight to his words. It makes him appear composed, self-assured, and in control of the moment. A deep, measured tone suggests emotional steadiness and quiet dominance, qualities women find inherently attractive. The key is not to force a voice to be deeper than it naturally is, but to develop vocal presence. A man who speaks with intention, allows silence between words, and lowers his pitch slightly, commands attention. He doesn't just talk, he draws her into the conversation, making every word feel significant. This subtle shift in delivery can transform even the most straightforward interactions, turning casual exchanges into moments charged with unspoken tension. A woman may not consciously analyze why a deep voice captivates her, but she feels its effect. It isn't about being loud or overly dramatic. It's about creating a rhythm and tone that resonates deeper. When a man speaks with a voice that exudes calmness and confidence, he doesn't just engage her ears, he engages her emotions. And in the realm of attraction, emotions always win over logic. 8. The intoxicating effect of touch. There is a silent language that speaks louder than words, a language that can create an almost hypnotic attraction when used correctly. Touch can draw a woman in without a single word when executed with subtlety and confidence. It's not about grand gestures or overt advances, but rather the smallest moments of connection that build anticipation and deepen emotional intimacy. A light touch on the lower back as you guide her through a crowded room, the brief brush of fingers as you hand her a drink, the way your hand lingers for just a second longer than necessary when helping her put on her coat. These are the moments that spark something deeper. They send a feeling rather than a spoken message. Presence, interest, and quiet confidence. Women are highly attuned to non-verbal communication. A man who understands this knows that the right touch at the right moment makes her feel seen, wanted, and connected in a way that words alone cannot achieve. The key is subtlety. It's too much too soon, and it feels forced. Too little, and the opportunity for attraction fades. But when done naturally, these small touches create an electric current that lingers, making her think about you even when you're not around. It is not the pressure of touch, but the intent behind it. A man who moves with ease, who touches her with certainty yet restraint, leaves her wanting more. And in that space of wanting, attraction thrives. 9. The hypnotic power of eye contact. Attraction is rarely built through words alone. More often, it is created in the spaces between them, in the pauses, the silences, and, most powerfully, in eye contact. A man who masters this subtle yet hypnotic skill can captivate a woman without saying a word. It's not about staring intensely or forcing a connection. It's about knowing how to hold a gaze just long enough to create intrigue and then breaking it with purpose. When a man maintains eye contact slightly longer than expected, he signals confidence. Most people instinctively look away when they feel nervous, but a man who holds his gaze calmly conveys a sense of certainty that women find irresistible. However, it's not just about keeping eye contact. It's about how you look away. A quick, darting glance elsewhere suggests discomfort, but looking away slowly, almost deliberately, creates an air of mystery. It leaves her wondering what's on your mind, drawing her deeper. Women are highly attuned to nonverbal communication. A lingering gaze that is relaxed yet intentional can ignite curiosity and attraction faster than a perfectly crafted compliment. She feels seen but not overwhelmed. She senses interest but also restraint. This balance between presence and detachment is what makes eye contact so powerful. The next time you speak to a woman, resist the urge to glance away too soon. Let the silence settle. Let your gaze hold hers a moment longer than she expects. Then break it confidently. The effect is subtle but undeniable. When done right, eye contact doesn't just make her notice you, it makes her feel something she can't quite explain. And that is the foundation of true attraction. 10. The unpredictability of a high-value man. A man who is too predictable loses his edge in a woman's eyes. Women are naturally drawn to intrigue, the unknown, and the excitement of discovery. When a man becomes too easy to figure out, when his responses are always expected, and when his actions follow the same routine, attraction fades. Predictability signals safety, but it also signals boredom. The men who hold a woman's attention the longest are the ones who keep her guessing, who introduce new emotions, and who maintain an air of mystery. A high-value man never reveals everything at once. He doesn't lay out his entire schedule for the week, or rush to explain every thought and feeling he has. He doesn't answer every text instantly, or make his intentions completely transparent. This isn't about playing games. It's about maintaining a sense of depth. A man who keeps a woman engaged isn't necessarily the most handsome or the wealthiest. He is the one who makes her feel something new, something unpredictable, something that keeps her invested. Women are emotional creatures who crave variety in their experiences. A man who can shift between being playful and profound, who can challenge her thinking yet make her laugh, who can disappear for a while and then return with renewed energy, this is the kind of man who lingers in her thoughts. She won't be able to categorize him neatly, which makes him fascinating. The key is balance. A man who is too distant comes off as indifferent, and a man who is too available loses his value. The sweet spot is where she's never entirely sure what's coming next, where each moment with him feels fresh, and where his presence is something she actively craves rather than takes for granted. The man who understands this is the man she can't stop thinking about. Attraction isn't just about luck, looks, or wealth. It's about understanding the hidden psychological triggers that shape human desire. Many men go through life believing they need to chase, convince, or prove themselves to a woman. But the truth is, attraction doesn't work that way. A high-value man doesn't beg for attention, he commands it naturally through his presence, confidence, and ability to create emotional intrigue. He doesn't try to control a woman, nor does he allow himself to be controlled. Instead, he understands the subtle, unspoken forces that drive attraction and positions himself so that women gravitate toward him without effort. The key takeaway is that attraction isn't built through excessive availability, constant reassurance, or trying to win a woman over. It's built through self-respect, unpredictability, and an unwavering sense of purpose. When you embody these traits, you create an energy that women can't ignore. You become someone they admire, desire, and even chase. Because deep down, attraction is about emotional stimulation, not logical decision-making. By applying these principles, you're improving your relationships and elevating your entire life. You're stepping into the mindset of a high-value man who doesn't seek validation, but instead creates an undeniable presence that draws people in. The more you focus on becoming this version of yourself, the less you'll worry about what a woman thinks, says, or does. Instead, you'll be in control of your destiny, effortlessly attracting the kind of experiences and relationships that align with your values. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed these psychological dynamics at play in your interactions? Which of these insights resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences can provide valuable lessons for others navigating the same journey. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification so you never miss out on new content about attraction, psychology, and personal growth. Keep striving, keep evolving, and remember, true power comes from within. See you in the next one.